You don't even understand me, Mum! Just stop trying!
That was the last thing I ever said to her, and I've had to live with it every single day since. If you have a mother, you need to watch this until the end, because by the time you finish this story, you might cry. You might remember something, and maybe you'll say something today that you won't regret tomorrow. If a mother ever loved you through your worst, hit that subscribe button. Let's honor them one story at a time. If you knew that one sentence, just one, would be the last thing you ever said to your mother, would you still say it? I used to think I had time. Time to fix things. Time to hug her longer. Time to say thank you. Or maybe just, I love you. But I was wrong. And now, I live with that sentence every single day. Some moments in life don't come twice. Some words take only seconds to say, but they stay with you for years. I said something I shouldn't have. I let my anger speak louder than my love. And I forgot that moms, they're not forever. What I said was the last thing she ever heard from me. And now, there's no way to take it back. I'm not telling this story for pity. I'm telling it because I don't want you to live like I do now. I want you to hear this before it's too late. My story begins on what I thought was just another ordinary Monday morning. My name is Daniel. I grew up in a quiet little town in Pennsylvania, the kind where everyone knows each other's names and nothing much ever changes. It was just me and my mom, Linda. No siblings, no dad. My father left when I was 5, walked out one rainy Thursday morning and never came back. No goodbye, no explanation, just silence. So my mom had to be everything. She wasn't just a mother. She was a nurse, a teacher, a cook, a counselor, and the strongest person I've ever known, even if I didn't realize it back then. She worked at a small clinic downtown. The pay wasn't great, the hours were long, and the patients could be cruel. But she never complained. Not once. She woke up at 5, 0 a.m. every morning before the sun, before the bird Sam packed my lunch, always with a little handwritten note folded inside. Notes like, lunch is in the fridge. I love you, even if you forgot to take out the trash. I used to roll my eyes at those notes. Back then, I thought they were silly. Now I'd give anything to hold just one of them in my hands again. But at that time, I didn't appreciate her. Not really. As I got older, I got more distant, more cold. I started noticing what other kids had: better clothes, nicer homes, newer cars, and I began to feel ashamed of what we didn't have. I was embarrassed that my mom drove a beat-up sedan with a missing hubcap, that her work uniform looked worn and faded, that she had tired eyes and calloused hands. I wanted to fit in, to be like the other boys who had 2 parents, big houses, and mothers who could afford to stay home. Instead, I had a mom who worked double shifts and smelled like hospital sanitizer when she hugged me goodnight. So I pulled away. I stopped reading her notes. I stopped saying thank you. I stopped noticing her sacrifices. And yet, every day, she smiled at me like I was the greatest thing that had ever happened to her. I didn't know it then, but that smile, it was carrying more weight than I ever could have imagined. It happened on a Monday. Not a holiday, not my birthday, just a regular, ordinary Monday. I was 17, old enough to think I knew everything, stupid enough to prove I didn't. That morning, I had slept through my alarm. I was already running late for school, and everything felt off. My hair wouldn't cooperate, I couldn't find my backpack, and I had a math test first period I hadn't studied for. I was tense, irritable, angry mostly at myself, but I didn't realize that yet. As I scrambled to grab my stuff and run out the door, my mom gently knocked on my bedroom door. "Sweetie, I made you breakfast. Eggs and toast your favorite. It's on the table, okay? And hey, don't forget your note." She said it in that soft voice. the one she always used when she was trying not to sound tired. And I snapped. God, Mom, can you just stop? For once, you don't have to remind me every single morning. You're not my alarm clock, okay? Just leave me alone. There was silence. No sound, no footsteps, just silence. I grabbed my backpack and stormed out, slamming the door behind me. I didn't even look back. Didn't say goodbye. Didn't say thank you. Didn't say I love you. I remember driving to school, fuming, and I remember thinking, she's so overbearing. Why can't she just give me space? What I didn't know was that while I was sitting in homeroom, trying to focus on that math test, my mother was collapsing on the clinic floor, barely able to whisper my name before everything went black. At 10:42 a.m., I was called out of class. The school secretary had a strange look on her face, one that made my stomach twist before she even spoke. A police officer was waiting outside the principal's office. Your mother's been taken to the hospital, he said. She collapsed at work. They think it was a stroke. I couldn't speak. I couldn't move. I didn't even realize I had dropped my backpack. Everything in my body went cold. We rushed to the hospital. I remember the drive like it was a dream, blurry, quiet, unreal. When we arrived, they let me into the room. There she was. Wires, tubes, machines, her face pale, her hands still. Her lips slightly parted, as if she had been mid-sentence. I fell to my knees beside her bed. Mom, please. I'm sorry. I didn't mean what I said. You were just trying to help. And I was a jerk. I was angry, but not at you. I swear. But she couldn't hear me. Not anymore. The last words she heard from me were words I would give anything to take back. I stayed at her bedside all night. The nurses told me there wasn't much time, that the stroke was massive, that there was swelling, that she was slipping away. They offered to call someone family, maybe, but there wasn't anyone else, just me. And her, I held her hand and whispered every apology I could think of. I said sorry 100 different ways, hoping one might reach her, hoping one might undo the damage I'd done. But she never opened her eyes. She passed away just before sunrise. The light was just starting to peek through the blinds when the machines went still. No beeping, no noise, just silence. The same silence I gave her the day before. I don't remember walking out of the room. I don't remember the drive home. But I remember sitting on the edge of her bed, holding a blanket she had knitted when I was 7. It still smelled like her clean linen and that cheap lavender lotion she always used. And that's when I saw it. Her purse was still on the nightstand. Inside it was her wallet, her keys, and a small worn notebook. It was a journal. The first page was dated January 5, 2008, the day after my dad left us. I flipped through it, slowly at first, then faster. Each page was filled with notes, prayers, reflections, moments she had written down just for herself. But she wrote about me. She wrote about how proud she was when I tied my shoes for the first time, how scared she was when I had my tonsils removed, how she cried the night I won my first school award alone in the car so I wouldn't see. Every page was a love letter I never knew existed. And on the final page, dated the day before she died, she had written this. If something ever happens to me, I hope Daniel knows how much I love Haim even on his worst days. He may not say it, but I know he loves me too. He's a good boy. He's just growing. And growing sometimes hurts. I held that journal to my chest and sobbed. Because in her final hours, my mother didn't hold a grudge. She held on to love. She gave me something I didn't deserve. Forgiveness before I even asked for it. After the funeral, everything felt hollow. The house was too quiet. The air felt heavier. Even the sun seemed less bright. I'd walk past her bedroom and pause just for a second half, expecting to hear her humming along with the radio, folding laundry, or talking softly on the phone to a patient who didn't listen to their medication schedule. But there was only silence. And in that silence, guilt grew like a weed. I replayed our last conversation 1,000 times. Over and over. You're not my alarm clock. Just leave me alone. That sentence haunted me. I heard it in my dreams, in the back of my mind at school, at the grocery store, everywhere. Friends tried to comfort me. They said, she knew you loved her. That one moment doesn't erase everything. But it wasn't about erasing everything. It was about knowing the last thing I gave her was pain. That the final memory I left her with was anger. I stopped talking for a while, stopped smiling, stopped trying, until one afternoon, weeks later, I found myself in the attic going through boxes she had saved from my childhood. Inside one was a folder filled with drawings I had made in kindergarten, little stick figures of me and her. One had a bright yellow sun, a red heart, and the words crookedly written, I love you, Mommy, because you never leave. That was the first time I smiled since she passed. It hit me then. She never wanted me to carry guilt. She wouldn't have wanted me to crumble beneath the weight of a mistake. She would have wanted me to learn, to grow, to do better, to speak softer, to love louder, to forgive faster. So I made a promise. I promised her right there in the attic that I would never again leave love unspoken. If your mom is still alive, call her. Don't text. Don't wait for the next holiday. Call her right now and say what you've been meaning to say. Even if it feels awkward, even if it's been too long, even if you think she already knows, because one day there will be no more tomorrows, no more breakfast left on the table, no more handwritten notes, no more humming down the hallway. You will miss the things that annoyed you, the reminders, the worrying, the overprotectiveness. You'll miss the sound of your name said with that exact tone, the one that only a mother can make feel like both a warning and a hug. You don't think about that now. You think there's time. You think later is good enough. But let me tell you, later doesn't always come. I spent years wishing I could go back and undo that one morning, but I can't. What I can do is this. I can tell you so that maybe, just maybe, you don't make the same mistake I did. Because if my story stops one person from walking out the door angry, from ending a phone call too soon, from leaving I love you unsaid, then maybe my mom's love didn't end that day in the hospital. Maybe it still lives on in you. So tell her, tell your mom you love her.